For weeks, the world has been fixated on the strange visitor named Three-Eye Atlas, an interstellar body that defied every expectation with its emerald glow, its pulsing rhythm, and its eerie defiance of the laws of physics. But just as scientists struggled to make sense of its behavior, the James Webb Space Telescope detected something even more unsettling. Three-Eye Atlas is no longer alone. A second object 100 times larger has entered the frame, moving not randomly but on a trajectory that intersects perfectly with Atlas itself. Astronomers were stunned not because two cosmic wanderers crossed paths, but because the alignment was too precise, too deliberate, as though this rendezvous was always part of the plan. And now, under the silent gaze of the universe, two colossal interstellar mysteries approach each other in an event so unprecedented that no words from science, history, or myth can prepare us for what is about to unfold. The second object, nicknamed Colossus by some astronomers, dwarfs Atlas by every measure. Where Atlas glowed green and pulsed with rhythm, this new arrival looms dark and vast, 100 times larger in diameter, with a gravitational field powerful enough to tug at nearby asteroids as it passes. Webb's initial images show an outline so immense it strains the sensors, not glowing like Atlas, but absorbing light as though it were cloaked in shadows. At first, scientists assumed coincidence, two interstellar visitors crossing paths at the same time. But orbital calculations destroyed that comfort. Colossus was not wandering blindly. Its velocity and trajectory curved in a way that suggested intention, slowing and adjusting until it matched Atlas's path with uncanny precision. In the void of space, where chance collisions are measured in billions of years, the odds of this encounter happening by accident are near zero. The evidence points to something else. This is not a coincidence, it is a meeting. A rendezvous written across the stars. As the days passed, the two objects began to interact in ways that left astronomers speechless. Atlas, with its emerald glow, seemed to intensify as Colossus approached, its pulses growing stronger and faster, like the quickening heartbeat of an organism sensing a partner. For the first time, the green light spread beyond its coma, streaming outward in thin beams that stretched toward the giant as though reaching out. In response, Colossus began to generate faint electromagnetic signatures, rhythmic but deeper, resonating like a bass note to Atlas's treble. The effect was that of a cosmic duet, two bodies separated by millions of kilometers but locked in synchronization, their signals intertwining across space. Space agencies rushed to deny that this was communication, but the pattern was undeniable. Atlas was no longer behaving as an isolated object. It was engaging with something larger, something older, something far more powerful, and humanity was watching helpless as two interstellar enigmas began a dance that seemed orchestrated. The arrival of Colossus did not just affect Atlas. Earth itself began to feel the consequences. The emerald veil that Atlas had cast across half the sky grew brighter still, but now it pulsed in resonance with a second, darker rhythm. Amateur astronomers reported shadows cutting across the stars, faint arcs that blotted out constellations, evidence of Colossus's vast presence. Satellites orbiting Earth began to record gravitational anomalies, small deviations in their paths that could only be explained by the influence of something massive moving through the solar system. Some reported interference in communications, deep hums in the static of radio transmissions, sounds that seemed to echo the rhythm of Atlas and its new companion. The heavens themselves appeared to transform, no longer random but patterned, structured, as though the entire sky was being rewritten by the interaction of two colossal visitors. Humanity had gone from watching a single mystery to being caught in the field of a cosmic convergence, and then came the most unsettling revelation. As Colossus closed the distance, it did not collide with Atlas, nor did it disrupt its orbit with raw gravity. Instead, it slowed and hovered, holding position relative to the smaller body with impossible precision. The two objects began moving together, locked in formation as though connected by an invisible tether. Webb sensors recorded bursts of exotic particles streaming between them, exchanges of energy that no natural process could explain. To some, it looked like refueling. To others, it was more like communication or transfer, as though Atlas had always been a messenger, waiting for the arrival of something greater. The myth suddenly seemed less metaphorical, the green banner in the sky, the dragon calling to its master, the emerald torch guiding the return of something immense. Now, for the first time, humanity faced the possibility that Atlas was never meant to act alone. It was the herald, and now its master had arrived. As Webb focused on the space between Atlas and Colossus, it detected something astonishing, streams of energy weaving back and forth, not chaotic bursts but highly structured filaments glowing faintly in ultraviolet. These filaments formed a lattice that shifted and reconfigured itself as if alive, linking the two objects in a network that pulsed with the same rhythm as their electromagnetic emissions. Some scientists compared it to synapses firing in a brain, a nervous system stretched across millions of kilometers. Others dared to call it an umbilical cord, with Atlas feeding from the colossal body, or perhaps delivering something it had carried all along. Whatever the process was, it didn't resemble any known physics of cometary interaction. These were not random jets of dust and gas. They were deliberate, ordered exchanges, and the deeper question arose. If this was an exchange, what was being given and what was being taken? Ordinary space events invite constant commentary from agencies and institutions. But as this cosmic rendezvous unfolded, the silence grew unbearable. NASA released no new web images. ESA canceled a scheduled briefing. China and Russia offered no acknowledgement at all, yet cracks in the wall of secrecy began to form. A leaked recording from within an observatory suggested that Colossus emitted bursts of radiation that aligned perfectly with Earth's orbit, as though scanning us. Another insider claimed that Atlas's emerald glow had dimmed slightly, as though energy was being drained into the larger body. Amateur astronomers who uploaded videos of the interaction reported their content flagged, archived, or mysteriously corrupted. It felt less like a blackout born of caution and more like deliberate suppression, as if those who knew the truth understood that what was happening in the sky could not be explained in safe scientific language. Humanity wasn't just watching, it was being shielded from seeing too much. As the connection between the two objects strengthened, the rest of the solar system began to feel the resonance. Magnetometers on Jupiter's moons recorded synchronized fluctuations. The solar wind itself bent, shaped not by the sun, but by the electromagnetic dialogue between Atlas and Colossus. Even the distant voyagers on the edge of interstellar space picked up faint but structured pulses echoing the same rhythm. The entire system seemed to vibrate with their frequency, as though the rendezvous had awakened a resonance that spread outward like ripples across a pond. Scientists struggled to classify the event. Was this a form of communication on a scale beyond imagination? Was it energy transfer, or was it something far more profound, a process that required the entire solar system as its stage? Whatever it was not contained. Every world, every spacecraft, every field of plasma felt its tremor. Atlas was no longer an isolated anomaly. It was part of a system-wide transformation. And then came the most chilling aspect of all, behavior that suggested purpose. The lattice of energy between Atlas and Colossus began to shift into repeating geometries. Triangles, spirals, and grids that rotated slowly before collapsing and reforming. Webb's algorithms flagged them as mathematical structures, patterns that bore resemblance to known constants and ratios found in biological systems, architecture, even ancient symbols carved into stone on Earth. Were these mere coincidences of plasma physics, or was the universe itself writing a message across the sky? Some suggested Atlas was a seed and Colossus the soil, that this was a process of activation. Others whispered of a fleet with Atlas nothing more than a messenger beacon calling its master home. Whatever interpretation one chose, the message was undeniable. This was not chaos. This was not accident. This was design. And the rendezvous was only just beginning. Observers across the world began to notice something unsettling. 3i Atlas, once the emerald torch that painted half the sky, was no longer burning with the same intensity. Its pulses, once steady and strong, seemed to weaken, their intervals stretching as if its energy were being siphoned away. Spectral readings confirmed that the coma of Atlas was shrinking, not dispersing into dust like an ordinary comet, but contracting inward, its light folding into the filaments that now tethered it to Colossus. To many astronomers, it looked like a sacrifice, Atlas giving itself over to the giant that had just arrived. For weeks, humanity had thought of Atlas as the main event, the enigma that demanded answers. Now it was becoming clear. Atlas had only been the beginning, a herald whose sole purpose was to deliver something to its master before fading into obscurity.